After a bit of searching, I think I finally figured out what this particular plant is. I've been looking for several months online trying to identify this particular plant, but I never could quite for sure find pictures that looked exactly like it. Now that the berries are more visible, I'm a little more comfortable with what I've found online to compare it to. The trailing nature of the vine and the shape of the leaves show that if it is in fact the plant that I now think it is related to wild grapes. However, if you look at the berries, they have a very different conformation in their clustering compared to wild grapes. If it was a wild grape, it should hang down low and hang in a cluster that tapers towards the end. Whereas these are a little more umbel shaped and they're not big, huge clusters. But if we look closely, we can also see that these berries are spotted. And see how that's kind of a robin's egg blue, and then this one's almost a purpley violet. And then over here, and this is what made me curious within the last week or two to start looking again, this is a very bright pink. I've never seen a grape get that bright pink. So I was thinking to myself, I don't think this is a wild grape. But all of these features, the vining nature, the shape of the leaves, the color of the fruit, and even the speckledness of the fruit, when I compare that to Google Images, I'm pretty sure that I have found out that this particular plant is porcelain vine. So these are the types of images I found when I looked on Google for the particular characteristics I was seeing with this plant. Here's the Latin name of this particular plant, and the common name is porcelain berry. And considered an ornamental plant, though the berries are edible, and it's native to temperate areas of Asia, per Wikipedia. So if I have now ID'd it correctly, this particular plant, as I said, is related to wild grape. However, this one is considered a very invasive species. In fact, I believe it's in the state of Massachusetts. It is illegal to plant this plant because it takes over so rapidly. It's a very aggressive grower, as you can see. I think this particular vine right here, we've been allowing to grow for about 2 years, and a lot of the growth has been this year. And then this one over here on the barn pretty much went from a vine that was maybe coming up to the roof, and then this year it has just grown to the extent that it is now, which is a lot of growth for 1 year. Now, one thing I do like about it is it has taken over that particular corner, so the poison ivy has kind of been pushed back to other areas. Now, the porcelain vine or porcelain berry is edible. The berries are edible, but what I've been seeing is they're not very palatable. So while we could eat it, I have a feeling we probably won't, because it's not supposed to taste all that great. Now, having said that, the birds love it, which also contributes to its invasiveness, because the birds will eat the little berries and then disperse them as they're flying along, and they relieve themselves, and those droppings become fertilizer for the seeds that are in the droppings, and then you have a new plant. So that's part of the reason, if you look this plant up online, you'll see that they recommend taking the berries off once the berries have come out so that the birds don't further disperse the plant. So I'm not yet sure what we're going to do with our particular plants. I don't want to cause a problem in our area by just letting it grow and grow. But on the flip side, there's plenty of wild space that this plant could definitely fill a niche. It's a good pollinator plant. A lot of pollinators like the blossoms, so it provides nourishment for other critters. It's just, it might be a little more of a nuisance for us humans because it can take over an area so quickly. And not just take over an area, but if it's in the right spot, it can actually choke out another plant. So it could, in essence, kill a plant that you want to keep, but because it grows so quickly and aggressively, it covers it, prevents the sunlight from adequately getting to the plant you want to keep, and then this plant remains. So I need to talk with Justin so we can have a conversation to see how we want to approach the use of this plant, if we want to keep it, if we want to get rid of it. I need to look online and see or verify whether or not the leaves are usable. I'm hoping that I will find through further research that the leaves, since it's closely related to grapes, can be used like grape leaves. Mainly, I want to see if this particular plant's leaves is high in tannins so that I can use the leaves whenever I make pickles, especially fermented pickles, to keep them crispier so that I don't have to add alum to my jar whenever I go to can them. I don't like mushy cucumber pickles. I like crispy ones. And if I can have an alternative method of keeping it crispy without having to add in an aluminum compound, I'm all for that. When we look to see if porcelain berry is edible, the first thing that pops up on Google, again, looks just like the plant we have outside. Granted, there's a lot more berries in that small space than what we're seeing, but the colors and the speckles and the leaves all look spot on. The berries of the porcelain vine are edible, raw or cooked, but they don't taste so great. The vine's leaf buds, leaves, and stems are also edible when cooked. So I'm still going to have to look some more to see if the leaves can be used for canning or fermenting pickles, because those would technically be raw leaves. And this says they're edible when cooked. I'll try to do a follow-up video when I've found out some additional information, and when Justin and I have made our decision on how we're going to address this particular plant. Now that we know what it is, it's still pretty cool, but we do have some decisions to make. Well, I hope this was informative. Maybe it'll help some of you identify this plant on your property as well. Y'all have a blessed day. Thanks for joining. Come back tomorrow.
Hey Cloud Hoppers, thanks for watching the video. Push the thumbs up to like the video. Also hit that subscribe button, also the bell, so that you can get notifications when our videos come out.
Check us out on our social media pages too. We have Facebook and Pinterest, and soon we'll have Instagram. The links are below. Bye y'all!
Bye! Good job.